You have. Oh my goodness. Welcome. Welcome. This is May. I'm sorry, not May. I'm moving the year along. March 6th of Women's History Month. And we're diving right into the faith of a woman. Tonight, we're talking about a beautiful woman that I'm so excited to share with you. Last night we started in Ruth chapter 1. And we're in chapter 2 already. It's juicy. And I'm just going to dive in and straight away start reading because this one is juicy. And I want you to get all the juice that you possibly can out of this one. So thank you for joining. Open your Bibles. I'm reading mine from the King James Version and diving right into Ruth chapter 2. All right, here we go. And just to give some context, if this is your first time listening and diving into Ruth, go back and listen to night one. Night 4. Women's History Month, Faith of a Woman, night 4. That's where we started in chapter 1. All right, now chapter 2. And Naomi, remember, okay, one more thing, one more prerequisite, one more thing. I'm so excited about this chapter. It's so fun. One more prerequisite. When we left off last night, where we left off in the story is Naomi was bitter. She had lost her husband, her 2 sons, and she was grieving. But she did have a good decision. And she decided, I heard that the Lord provided bread for his people. So let me go back to Jerusalem. So she decided to go back there, and her and Ruth go back to Jerusalem. And it's right at the beginning of barley harvest. So it's a sad situation, but they made a good choice to transition from the land of Moab back to the land of Bethlehem. And here they are. It's the beginning of barley harvest. And this is where we pick up in chapter 2. And Naomi had a kinsman of her husband's, a mighty man of wealth, of the family of Elimelech, and his name was Boaz. Dun, dun, dun. So if you ever heard of Ruth and Boaz before, it's from this story, Ruth and Boaz. And Ruth the Moabitess said unto Naomi, let me now go to the field and glean ears of corn after him in whose sight I shall find grace. And she said unto her, go, my daughter. And she went and came and gleaned in the field after the reapers, and her hap was to light on a part of the field belonging to Boaz. She just so happened, after she asked her mother-in-law, listen, look, let me go out here and get some work done, okay? Let me go find some work. Back in her day, work in that time, again, it was the beginning of barley harvest. And so work in that time was like whoever feels she can find some grace in. In other words, the reapers are doing their job of reaping the harvest, but her finding grace would mean that they would allow her to reap after the reapers to pick up whatever scraps, and then she can keep them for herself. And so her intention was to do that so that her and her mother-in-law could at least have food to eat, right? So her mother-in-law was like, yeah, go find some work. And as she went to find work, she just happened to come into this part of the field that Boaz owned. And right at the beginning of this chapter, we learned that Boaz is the kinsman relative of Naomi's dead husband. So it's already shaping up. As you can see, this video is called Coincidence or Destiny. All right, okay. And she went and came and gleaned in the field after the reapers, and her hap was to light on the part of the field belonging unto Boaz, who was the kindred of Elimelech. And behold, Boaz came from Bethlehem and said unto the reapers, the Lord be with you. And they answered him, the Lord bless thee. Then Boaz said unto his servant that was set over the reapers, whose damsel is this? And the servant that was set over the reapers answered and said, it is the Moabitess damsel that came back with Naomi out of the country of Moab. And she said, I pray you, let me glean and gather after the reapers among the sheaves. So she came and hath continued even from the morning until now, that she tarried a little in the house. In other words, she took a little break in the shade for a little bit. Then Boaz said unto Ruth, hearest thou not, my daughter? Go not to glean in another field. In other words, look, little girl, hey, shawty, don't go nowhere else. I need you to stay right here, okay? Boaz said to her, go not to glean in another field, neither go from hence, but abide here fast by my maidens. Let thine eyes be on the field that they do reap. In other words, pay attention to where they're reaping and make sure you go after them and reap behind them. And go thou after them. Have I not charged the young men that they shall not touch you? He's offering her protection. He hasn't even asked her name, but he's like, listen, don't go into nobody else's field. I'm going to protect you while you're here, and you can reap here as long as the harvest lasts. You can be here doing what you do. This is awesome. Right away, he's just like giving out massive favor to her. And he says, have I not charged the young men that they shall not touch thee? And when thou art athirst, when you're thirsty, go unto the vessels and drink of that which the young men have drawn. He's offering her protection, provision. He's like, listen, when you thirsty, you don't even have to wish you had a bottle of water. Just go over to the water supply that others have drawn, my workers have drawn, and you help yourself. Okay. I love it. Protection, provision. He's just doing the most. So then she fell on her face and bowed herself to the ground and said unto him, why have I found grace in thine eyes, that thou shouldest take knowledge of me, seeing I am a stranger? And Boaz answered and said unto her, it hath fully been shewed me all that thou hast done unto thy mother-in-law since the death of thine husband, and how thou hast left thy father and thy mother and thy land of thy nativity, and art come unto a people which thou knowest not heretofore. In other words, you didn't even know us, and you decided to leave the land of your mother, your father, where you were born, where you grew up, everything you knew, and come to this strange land with these strange people, and now you're here. So this is why I'm being so favorable to you. I know all that you've done. I've heard of your faithfulness. I've heard somebody done told me the scoop on you, boo, and I like it. Okay, he didn't say that part. The Lord, and then this is what he says. He said, this is why I'm being favorable to you. This is the Lord's favor coming through me. He said, the Lord recompense thy work, and a full reward be given thee of the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings thou art come to trust. Oh, I love it. It is such a picture of the Lord. He's saying that, okay, I know I'm the one expressing this lavish favor to you by providing for you, by protecting you, and then allowing you to work in these fields with an addition of favor to you. This is why I'm showing you favor, because really it's the Lord showing favor to you for all the favor that you've shown to your mother-in-law. So it's just so beautiful to see the Lord's favor coming through a total stranger. She's a stranger to him, and she's receiving all this favor from him. So she's like, what's going on? Why are you showing me all this favor? I'm a stranger. And he said, really, it's the Lord that you've come to trust. It says here, and a full reward. He says, the Lord recompense thy work, and a full reward be given thee of the Lord, God of Israel, under whose wings thou art come to trust. In other words, you come to trust the Lord, and the Lord going to show you that he's trustworthy. He's going to lavishly provide for you, protect you. And then this is what Boaz did. Then this is what she said. Then she said, let me find favor in thy sight. She's like, as if I haven't found enough. Let me find favor in thy sight, my Lord. In other words, it's like she's saying, wow, this is wonderful. Well, then let me find favor in your sight. For thou hast comforted me, and for thou hast spoken friendly unto thine handmaid. Thou, though I be not like unto thine one of thine handmaids. So basically, I'm a foreigner. I'm new around here, and you're speaking so friendly to me and being so kind to me. And this favor is abundant, and I'm just flattered. She is basically shy in this moment, like, wow, this is great. Thank you. This is awesome. I love it. But in more poetic words, I love it. So she's saying, you've comforted me. The words that you've spoken to me are so friendly, even though I am not like one of your own handmaids. And then this is what Boaz said to her. And Boaz said unto her, at mealtime, come thou hither and eat of the bread, and dip thy morsel in the vinegar. And she sat beside the reapers. And he reached and he reached her parched corn, and she did eat, and was sufficed, and left. Did they just have a low-key date? I think they just had a low-key date. So basically, he invited her to lunch. He said, at mealtime, come thou hither. Basically, come eat at my table. Eat of the bread and dip thy morsel in the vinegar. He's like, eat the food that was prepared, okay? And she sat beside the reapers, and he reached her parched corn, and she did eat. Like, wait, what? She's over here by the reapers, and he's like, let me go put her corn in the little dip or whatever that is they got going on. And she did eat and was sufficed. Sis was full. She was satisfied and left. And when she was risen up to glean, this is what Boaz did. He was feeling her. Look, this is what he did. Boaz commanded his young men, saying, let her glean even among the sheaves, and reproach her not. And let fall also some of the bundles of purpose for her, and leave them, that she may glean them, and rebuke her not. Okay, this is amazing. So the setup here is that she is supposed to be gleaning the scraps. The reapers are really bringing in the harvest. They are getting paid to do this. And then she is just somebody from the community who's like, if I can find favor and grace in one of these fields, I can go and pick up the scraps, and I can just have that. They, instead of the workers working overtime, this is just some community member that is able to now pick up the scraps, and the whole community goes around. But Boaz is saying, no, let her glean among the sheaves. Like, in other words, let her glean from what the reapers are supposed to be gleaning. He's showing her even more favor. And then he's telling his workers, you know what? In fact, let some handfuls fall out on purpose and leave them for her to glean. In other words, y'all do some work and drop her some extras. This is awesome. Oh, this is so great. I've read this before, but it feels like the first time. And then it says, and rebuke her not. In other words, y'all pick up y'all reap what you're supposed to reap. Drop some extras for her. Let her pick it up, and don't say nothing. So she gleaned in the field until even, and beat out that she had gleaned. And it was about an ephah of barley. Sis got a whole stack, an entire bundle. And she took it up and went into the city. And her mother-in-law saw what she had gleaned, and she brought forth and gave to that. And she brought forth to her that she had reserved after she was sufficed. In other words, her leftovers from her low-key date, she brought the leftovers for her mother-in-law. And her mother-in-law said unto her, Wait a minute. Who field you was in today? Where you get all this from? Her mother-in-law said unto her, where hast thou gleaned today? And where wroughtest thou? In other words, where did you work? How did you get all this? Is a lot. These are not leftovers that somebody from the community would just glean. This is a lot. This is an entire load. You look like they were paying you to work. And then she says this, blessed be he that did take knowledge of thee. In other words, I know somebody noticed you. Who field you was in? Where you was at? Tell me. Give me the tea. I want to know everything because somebody noticed you. And then her mother-in-law says, blessed be he that did take knowledge of thee. And she shewed her mother-in-law with whom she had wrought. Wrought means work or to work. And said, the man's name with whom I work today is Boaz. And Naomi said unto her daughter-in-law, blessed be he of the Lord, who hath not left off his kindness to the living and to the dead. Naomi is like, oh my goodness, this is my brother-in-law. Naomi's like, this my brother-in-law, and he's showing his kindness to the living and to the dead because she knows that it's a kinsman redeemer of her dead husband, Elimelech. So he's showing kindness to her family now, and he's showing kindness to her dead husband. So she says, blessed be he of the Lord, who hath not left off his kindness to the living and to the dead. And Naomi said unto her, the man is near of kin unto us. Girl, this your relative might be your husband. She said, the man is near of kin to us, one of our next kinsmen. That's kinsman means like somebody who's able to redeem you and potentially marry you. So that's why I said, might be your husband. That's literally what she's saying. And Ruth the Moabitess said, he said unto me also, thou shalt keep fast by my young men until they have ended all my harvest. And Naomi said unto Ruth, girl, you better listen to that man. I'm having a blast. I hope you are too. And Naomi said unto Ruth, her daughter-in-law, it is good, my daughter, that thou go with his maidens, that they meet thee not in any other field. So she kept fast by the maidens of Boaz to glean unto the end of barley harvest and of wheat harvest, and dwelt with her mother-in-law. This is amazing. They came at the beginning of barley harvest, and not only did she get to glean for barley harvest, but she got to glean for wheat harvest. And she was staying with her mother-in-law during this time. Is what's going on here. Her mother-in-law is already in the background like, oh, this might be your husband, girl. Stay in that field. Do what he told you to do. Like, I could already see Naomi's wheels turning, but we'll get to see what happens in chapter 3 tomorrow night. What was your favorite part of the story tonight? What was your favorite part? I think my favorite part was this low-key date that they had. I don't think I ever noticed that before. Let me switch to NLT to read that part to you again. Okay, so this is so cute. It's like starting at verse 13. This is right after she says, why have I found favor in your eyes? And then he tells her why. And then she says, I hope I continue to please you, sir. She replied, you have comforted me by speaking so kindly to me, even though I am not one of your workers. At mealtime, Boaz called to her, come over here and help yourself to some food. You can dip your bread in the sour wine, girl. You can dip your bread here. Let me show you how we do it here. So she sat with his harvesters, and Boaz gave her some roasted grain to eat. She ate all she wanted, and still had some left over. In other words, she was so abundantly provided for during this meal, because it said like it sounds like he personally came over. That's why I said it feels like a low-key date. So she sat with his harvesters, but even though she was sitting with his harvesters, it says, and Boaz gave her some roasted grain to eat. Okay, Boaz was checking on her. He was asking, wait, who was this damsel? Then he was checking on her. Then he was showing her favor. Then he was like, come eat with us. I'm loving this. I'm eating it up. I hope you are too. And I hope you are starting to see the hope budding in this story. I hope you're starting to see that what seems to be coincidence is actually leading into destiny. And sometimes in our lives, things feel coincidental, but I want to challenge you that to just really start praising God for delivering you into your destiny. That's something that I'm going to take for myself, just start praising God for delivering you into your destiny, and all the coincidental moments or maybe the things that feel challenging. I just want to encourage you that the Lord sees you, He loves you, and may the hope begin to arise in your life. May you begin to see the buddings of hope, even as we transition from winter to spring. May hope begin to spring up in your heart, in your life, in your circumstances, and that you just see hope everywhere in your life. All right, until tomorrow night. Until chapter 3, be encouraged, believe God, and live. I'll see you again soon. Ooh, this chapter makes me really want to sing, Dear Future Bae, I'm praying for you. We love it. I'll see you tomorrow night. I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you. I'm praying for you.